I'm Melody Carlisle.
And I'm Sabrina Bradley.
And this is Heaving Bosoms. This is the podcast where best friends recap romance novels and other kissing media that makes us swoon, snark, and refills our cups.
Whether you've read the book or are coming in blind, we'll lay bare every delicious scene and revel in the tropes and subgenres that make romance amazing.
All right, listener, strap in and strap on. Headphones are highly recommended.
Okay, this is the most high-pressure first date energy. I realized I was like, I had all these nerves approaching this date. I was so excited, but I'm so nervous. But then I'm also like, will she like me? Will I be funny? Will I fail to be funny?
Look, man, we've met before.
Highest?
We've hung out before a little bit.
Ish.
Yeah.
Not really.
You came to that book club, and don't think I didn't spend every single moment paying attention to you and no one else.
Oh my God, those delicious lies. That's tastier than my coffee. Tell me another one. Hold on. I want to...
No, but really, though, I was so excited that you were there that I was like, when's Nick going to talk?
This is the best day of my life. I think we can go. I just finished.
What? No cuddling after? Come on, man.
I just didn't want to overstay my welcome.
Oh my God. Y'all, Nick is here. Nick is the best. Nick is famous for her many things, but one of them was a cross-country road trip in which she almost exclusively wore a fashion hat.
I'm not wearing a fashion hat. What's wrong with me? I also considered putting on makeup for you, but then I was like, why not just shiny SPF so that the light makes it appear as though I made an effort?
Yeah. I didn't even do that. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm
are
so
you kidding?
Sorry.
I couldn't handle anything better than this. I was already... You're like, I'm trying to do technical shit. And I was like, I'm just going to admire your face holes. I mean, I brought up your piercings, both of them. Your nostrils. Also, there are 2 of those. So we're going to count that as 4 compliments separately.
I've got nice nostrils. I'm not going to lie to you.
You give good nostril. I know you've probably heard that a million times. But I wanted to chip in to that bank that you can later call on. I'm having a bad day and just like bring myself back to nostril compliments.
Oh my gosh, yes. I give good nostril. Nick, you give good recommendation is what you give.
Oh my God. I had a nightmare that you didn't like the book and I was like, okay, good. I've lived through it. So the worst case scenario has already happened in my mind's eye. It's like, what if she hates it?
So listen, I told you that I already read Choosing Theo forever ago, like when it came out. But then, podcast reading gets in the way and I couldn't go back to the series. So, listener, she chose Saving Verakko, and boy, did I not only read that twice, she has it in paperback. Oh.
I'm so sorry, Victoria Aveline. I have not opened it, but I did buy it, so you did get a tiny bit of money. Less money than you should have, but a tiny bit of money. We've supported you. Queen.
Yeah. So I read this twice, and I read Freeing Luca and Tempting Auzed.
Wait, what the fuck? Are you serious?
I'm serious.
My God.
And I'm probably also going to end up
Veho's
reading...
gerund verb?
Which hamaha?
I said, what's Veho's gerund verb?
Using Veho.
Using Veho.
Using him. Ooh, Vanessa's going to use him so good. Ugh.
Oh my God, this energy is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Have you read any of the other ones?
Oh, Yes.
Okay,
all of
cool.
them.
Cool.
All of them.
Cool.
I have not finished the novella because it requires also Stephen Dexter. The way I first experienced these was audiobook.
I exclusively read them in audio.
Really? Oh my God. Like finding a male audio reader that manages that balance. I'm just like, these books are a unicorn and that audio reader is a unicorn.
Absolutely.
So I've just recommended anytime someone's like, I'm in a slump or like, I feel no joy or whatever. I'm just like, I need to masturbate and I don't know how. And I'm like, this one will inspire you. It's fine.
It'll do all the things you need.
Oh fuck, I was going to say, I was rereading it. I've read it so many times, listened to it so many times. It would definitely help if my eye holes had looked at the words, because then things stay in my brain more better.
Oh, I know. Same.
But
Same.
I'm just like, fuck, I hope I remember it, because I started to review it kind of like grammar course last night. It did not make it very far. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it sounds like you're good. It sounds like you're good. Like you'll be able to handle this.
Pretty good. Like,
Yay.
listen, listener knows that like we probably aren't going to get everything in the correct order, you know, but we will get most of the important stuff and we will say it out loud. And that's really what you can expect from podcast.
Yes. Can we do like a fan group before we start plotting, which we probably should, about Sabrina? I just want to like say publicly that you guys, if you have not had even like a one sentence exchange with Sabrina, you're doing it wrong. So I was obsessed with Sabrina back when I had enough time and energy to Facebook. Oh my God, Facebook is exhausting. Once I had to do it for work, I had no idea how you guys managed to maintain a Facebook group. Like,
I nearly had a nervous breakdown and I had to give it away. That's what happened to me.
That really answers it. That really answers it. Anyway, once I had to do it for work, I was just like, I could never Facebook again. Like I will pop in like a creepy little mole covered in dirt. And I'm just like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, nothing that I want to be part of. Never mind. Bye.
Yep. I thought I wanted to. It turns out I don't.
But like, I miss HB Land.
Same.
And, you know, the Sabrinas of the world are like hard to reach when I don't want to Facebook, but
I know.
We did WhatsApp for a while.
Well, at least you're getting more of her on podcast now. That's good.
I know. I'm like, I can do friendship one-sided. That's fine. I'll just like laugh along with you guys and pretend I'm part of it. That's what podcasts are, right?
Yeah.
Because if that's not what we all do, then I should probably talk about this with my therapist.
Yeah. And actually,
I have fake friends.
I think we're gonna do an HB Discord too, so I'm stoked about that because it's not Facebook, but still contact. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God! One of my favorite things about this book is that they couldn't not argue. That's all they did at first. It was great.
And
it was so
great.
great.
It wasn't like, oh my God, it's so cute, he's a misogynist. Or like, I'm talking very heteronormative just because that's the book we're talking about. But I was going to say either the dude is like a complete fucking asshole or the chick is like this super duper flattened version of a human who's just like, all I do is complain and I'm mad and I have no like depth to these feelings. Many writers are very good and writing a book is hard.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, that can be a very tedious read. I'm like, I need the conflict to originate from somewhere that is made of human, which is ironic since if everyone doesn't have video and doesn't see the blue person on the book that I held up, Verakko is an alien, y'all.
He is. He's an alien. He's a camouflage boy. He can go from like teal to dark blue to like little bits of green in there somewhere.
Midnight blue.
Oh my God.
And then teal with, what was it? I actually wrote it down. Oh no, I'm full of notes that are useless because I can't read them because I wrote them with colored pencil very quickly.
That's a mood.
Oh, it's on the other page. It's on this tiny bit of other page. It's teal and seafoam green. Daytime is teal and seafoam green. And the nighttime is midnight blue.
Seafoam green is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, which I think I feel like seafoam green is kind of like the black licorice flavor. You either like really love it or you're like, get it the fuck away from me. I don't know.
I had not thought of it that way.
I don't know.
Because in my brain, I'm like, seafoam green is like the chocolate of the world where if you don't like it, it's just because you haven't had access to therapy, which is tragic.
Floating on clouds, seafoam green.
Yes.
That's what that is.
I want for all of you to love Seafoam Green. I just want that for you. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying, like, I'm putting that wish out into the world.
Yeah.
Like, very secret vibes.
I think it might be because Seafoam Green has sort of been, like, misunderstood and maligned, you know? Like, a lot of people...
I don't know. Take me on this journey.
I'll tell you everything. So, a lot of people say that, like, a puke green or, like, a witch's brew green. Like, there's too much brown in a lot of the colors that people call Seafoam Green. And there's not supposed to be a lick of brown in there. Yeah. You can't... Seafoam Green is not meant to be muddy, everyone. Okay? And so don't call colors that are similar to Seafoam Green, but muddy, Seafoam Green. Stop doing that. Get more specific. You, listener. Yeah, I'm talking to you. It can't be muddy because it has to offset the beautiful sandy color that often goes along with it.
Accurate.
Yes.
When you're right, you're right.
Thank you.
And do you notice how listener is not arguing with us? That means they agree.
Yeah, I know, right? So good.
Perfect. What good listener? Good job, listener.
Good job, listener. Okay, so we're jumping into this. This is book 3. I did read books 1 through 4 at least, and I'm gonna start 5 later today. No worries. I need to find out about that pirate boy and how he gets used.
Yes, that's true. You do.
So we are jumping into this when a bunch of ladies on a planet called Clickania have been, well, liberated from a research facility, like an underground bunker research facility situation. Because
unsurprisingly, the ladies be human. I just want to, you said ladies, but I just wanted to make it clear that
right.
They be human ladies.
Yeah. Those are all human parts on there.
Their bits be human. And available for fucking.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So Clickania is like, it's having a hard time making babies, especially girl babies. And so they're also like not mating anymore. And mating in this land is like, it's like a biological thing in which you see your fated mate and then your eyes turn like a black color and then it goes away. And then when you finally like fully accept your mate, you get these hand markings. You get these blue tattoos, everybody. Swirly tattoos all over your hands and forearms. Because she does such good shit with tattoos in this series.
She does.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she does.
Yeah.
I mean, she does good shit with so much good shit. So
exactly.
Also, she does good shit with bad shit.
That's true. Yeah.
I think she only knows how to do good shit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I think her shit's only good.
she's too good.
It's true.
Well done, Victoria, and also our condolences, because being flawed is like actually super fun.
Yeah, right?
I have a good time with it.
You have to work so much harder to have depth of character when you don't have any flaws. God. What an effort.
Oh my God. What an adorable voice to say something so deeply real.
Oh my God. Okay, so listen, they're liberated and there's like 6 of them or something. And 2 of them, one of them is our heroine, are like, I don't think I want to wait around for any more alien boys to come out of the woodwork because we have no idea how to tell who's good and who's bad, or if there even are any good ones who don't want to enslave me. So I'm going to fuck off to that forest. So Lily and Alejandra, who is book 4, and she gets a little flying squirrel bat armadillo psychic little pet.
Oh, I said sidekick.
Sidekick. It is also
but
a little bit psychic.
It is psychic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When you're right, you're right. Keep going.
Yeah.
I ruined your flow.
No, you didn't at all. So they decide to go into the forest, and everybody's like, wow, Lily, you're so small and you have so many highlights, and like, are your nails painted because you can't survive in the forest? And she's like, bet me I can. I lived in the forest. I grew up in the forest. I was only a forest person back on Earth.
The delightful thing is that she doesn't even do that.
It's all in her head.
Yum, because she's so quietly self-assured.
Yeah.
But the other part is thinking of Alejandra, who is like such a kind of solid character. She ends up being like kind of the dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like a lot more determined. She's also the one who starts the talk of like, fuck this. We don't need to wait around. Like, look at these assholes. We don't have an example to know that anyone's not like this.
Right.
And then Lily's just like, I'll go with you. And
I will keep you alive the whole time.
I would also be like, I will take fucking anyone. I'm wandering into the forest. I want company. It's fine. But like, there would be a reasonable response to be like, and your resume would be
right.
What can you do?
What are your qualifications? Thank you.
Sorry. You're so pretty. I get so worried when you're so pretty. I will like announce this at the grocery store. There, like when I'm like, oh right, I need to like pay you with currency. And sometimes I'll just be like, I'm sorry, I look really pretty today. My brain doesn't work.
Hard. It's so hard to function when you're this pretty.
My hair looked like shit yesterday. I was on it. I was so competent.
Yeah.
So like, it's just like rolling the dice with me. I can be super fun or I can be super shiny. You gotta pick. It's got not to have both.
God.
But it's fine. Everyone seems to take it well. Anyway, keep going.
Definitely. But Lily's parents were Bear Grylls or something.
I don't know that reference, but I believe you. And yes,
he had a show on a something that was like survive out in the wild with Bear Grylls.
I heard of a name. Gotcha.
They were the stars of their very own Naked and Afraid, except they did actually have clothes on.
Not what I've heard of.
And that's what they did their whole life. She never went to school. Like, she was homeschooled by her parents who would, like, take random trips.
In the forest.
Yeah. They would take random trips to, like, different outbacks around the world, which, like, how did they fund outbacks? I don't know.
Same question.
I
had the same question.
Forest.
Why fund outbacks? You know how to identify edible nuts. What else do you need?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess.
Where I fucked up in life
is really my issue. How they get into Australia is my question.
Right. Yeah, that is a very difficult one to reach without oodles of money.
Yeah, where are your American dollars coming from is what I'm asking those parents. Anyway.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe they were the first YouTubers.
It's hot.
Who knows?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. They had a video set up the whole time. That's, yep. All right, we cracked it.
Yeah. So she knows how to survive on pretty much any terrain on Earth. And she's just sort of like hoping against hope that will translate to the Clickanian forest / like rainforest, like jungle situation. Yeah.
It's
so it's great. We see like a bunch of survival stuff happen. Like they have to purify their water. They
find rocks that'll shard properly so that they can have a sharp edge. That I was such a competency boner.
Yeah. She makes herself a bow drill to start fires.
Yes.
Fires
and
on
both of us know what that is,
green.
so like we feel really impressed.
I actually do know what that is.
I believe you. I was just trying to ride your coattails.
I have used one before.
You said it with such confidence.
Yeah, it's those things where you use it.
Right, I forgot. You grew up in the eastern part of Oregon, right? I grew up in the western part of Oregon. We can't do shit.
Yeah,
I know how to find different coffee shops.
That's fine. No,
I can find a non-Starbucks.
Southern Oregon.
So I was like, I know it was one of the places where, you know.
Yeah. No, you do sometimes have to know how to do things in Southern Oregon. Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed either way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So they do all of that and like they're like getting to know each other. It's very cute, but like this isn't about Alex and Lily, unfortunately. You know, she could have gone sapphic.
It is for chapter 1.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful like romance.
Yeah.
Between friends for
Absolutely.
chapter 1. And then my note at the end of chapter 1 is getting separated. And then in parentheses, oh, hi, book 4, fork in the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Alex goes off to find her hot blonde.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Her hot blonde. He is hot. I'm going to give him that at the very least. Owzed.
Owzed is hot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they they fall in the river is what happens. They do a big trip and fall into a big rushing river and then they get separated.
I don't have to laugh silently. I don't have to laugh separately. Hold on, I must separate myself from you so I can have mirth.
I must do this alone. No one can see.
I keep trying to not interrupt you. It's like a very... I'll get used to it. It's fine. Keep going.
Please interrupt me. This
You're
is your
nailing
podcast
this. It's like
today.
you're a pro. Oh, yes, totally.
This is your podcast. So, okay. So she gets out and she's like on her own now trying to find Alex because they said they were going to try to meet up again. Meanwhile...
Actually, can I pause us at that scene? Because it's one of my faves. Because basically Alex slips over an edge.
Yeah.
And Lily grabs her hand. And it's just so cinematic. It's one of the more cinematic moments of the book. And Alex is dangling over the side and Lily has her, but realizes, which I've been not in this situation, obviously, but in similar situations, I feel like everyone has been in this kind of vibe where you're like, oh, fuck, I have salvaged this situation for the moment, but just realizing you've become part of the disaster and there's no fixing it.
Oh, yeah.
And you just have to be like, you just have to prepare the other person. Where you're just like, here's what's going to happen. Curl into a ball.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to give like...
Put your feet downstream, Alex. Like, oh my God.
Put your feet downstream. Turn over onto your belly. Don't try to stand up. You know, that whole thing. Anyway, so she's like, all right, we're going in together. This is what to do.
Yeah.
And they go into the river. They're flying down. Lily manages to catch part of a tree that is like downed in the river. So it's going across part of the river. And she climbs up onto the tree and realizes Alex hasn't gone over far enough to catch the edge of the tree. So Lily's like reaching out for her. And she sees this look of determination come over Alex's face. And she flips back over onto her back so she can keep going downriver in the way that Lily told her. And Lily's like yelling after her, like, I'll meet you down. I'll meet you down there, girl.
But then she sees Alex go under and then never sees her again.
Yeah, she's too far downriver to see if she came back up, which is just
oh my God,
delicious. Delicious.
Oh, my heart.
Writing.
Yeah. So, okay. Meanwhile, all right, we have a big conflict that did happen at the end of book 2 that Verakko, our sexy McHot Pants, who might be descended from a snake, he has been attempting to liberate the rest of the ladies who are like maybe all over the world who
sexy Mick, you were just very slithery. He's attempting to liberate ladies, but like in a way that's not very emotional. He's just like, I want to be good at this. I am nerd. I'm sexy nerd.
Yeah. He's a hot tech bro is what he is. Yeah. Like a hot, good one. You know, he cares about other people and stuff. It's fine.
He kind of doesn't. Not entirely.
Not at first, especially.
He's very much like, ooh, feelings. I don't know. I don't know about these. I don't know if I want in on this.
So he ends up fighting a bunch of Strigi, which are people who have wings. And he gets picked up.
Cocanians who have wings. They're the same species. They're just like, they took a different evolutionary path.
Yeah. They weren't crossed with snakes like he was.
Accurate. They were not. No.
So he gets picked up and they're like flying away with him. And he has something called sway. Okay, everyone? And that means that he can do something with his voice and like suggest things to you. And if you're into it, you'll do it. Is basically what that means. If you're not into it, you won't. Which I was like, what the fuck kind of superpower is this?
It's just like superpowering like best friend vibes. That is what it struck me as when you're good friends with someone.
You should totally get those pants.
No, that's a great idea. That tattoo will be perfect. It should definitely go right on your face.
Yes.
It's like it's just that little like it's a little to make you go over the edge. An edge, admittedly, that you may not have.
True.
That is fair. Because, for example, the Strigi the sway he uses on the Strigi is, man, it's cold up here because like I'm way up high in the clouds. I should go down lower because Verakko wants to be able to drop into the trees, except he's super duper scared of heights. It's okay. Drop that little plot moment. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
And so what he's able to convince him to do is something that's in his mind. Like he is cold. He is tired. Verakko's heavy because he's full of sexy.
Yes.
And so he's just like, oh God, you're cold and you're tired. You should fly lower. And then he sees a river up ahead and he's like, oh, and you probably want a drink of water. And then he shakes off this way because I assume like he wasn't thirsty.
Yeah, I guess. He was like, I'm actually
He's like,
not
I'm
parched.
not thirsty at all.
Thank you.
You should have tried You Need to Pee because I do.
Right?
Know your audience, sir.
Strigies are notoriously hydrated.
Wings, hydration. That's the thing we know about the Strigy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really all we need to know, unless there's a sexy book about it. Victoria, get a hold of us.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Victoria, I won't say no to it. You know, I will read that.
I most likely would say yes to any and all things Victoria wanted to deliver into my face.
Same. Yeah. So he gets dropped. Because he does a fight on this Strigy afterwards, and he puts him in like a leg clamp, I feel like. He gets in between those burly thighs, I feel like.
And he does like a full, ab tuck up to get his legs wrapped around.
Dare you.
Very sexy, I assume. I did kind of go really fast through that part because he was about to meet Lily, so
Yeah.
I cared, but only so much.
Like, you understood it was a vehicle to get to the next point. Yeah.
I did.
Because he gets dropped like on his head, okay? He goes ka-tonk, ka-tonk, ka-tonk through the trees. And
I
lands.
think he gets dropped on all of his parts because it's like clang, cling, plunk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then it's lights out.
Ooh. And Lily's right there. And she's like, oh shit. People are falling from the sky. Oh no. He doesn't look like any of the dudes that had me captive, but a lot of the dudes who had me captive did have wings. So like maybe he was with one of the dudes. Oh no, what am I going to do? And she's like, I'm a good person. I can't just cosh him over the head and make him die more. So I guess I'll make him better. And she goes over to him.
Are you skipping over this? Okay,
No.
Sorry. I thought you were skipping over the sexiness.
No.
Go. So good at sexiness. I shouldn't have doubted you.
So she goes over to him.
Sexiness is like what you do.
I don't know about that.
I do know.
Thank
about
you.
that. You're welcome.
So she goes over to him and she's like inspecting him, and she sees a broad back with his muscles, and she turns him over, and then she sees like a really good face on him, and then she's like, oh no, it's a tooth. It's at least 2 inches long. What am I going to do about tooth? So she's going to inspect it. She's going to inspect it, and she's got her hand hovering over that big sharp tooth. And then he wakes up real quick, and he tackles her down to the ground, and he hovers over her. Oh, he's on top of her now. And he says, where am I? And she's like, I'm not sure. I'm going to grab my stick and hit you again. And so she does. And we find out from his perspective later that, like, the reason he woke up is because there was a really pretty lady who was about to touch his fang that has venom in it, and he didn't want her to die.
Kill her. It's so sweet, guys. He's like, oh, I don't want you to die, stranger.
Yeah.
That is sexy romance.
That's what I'm saying.
From these aliens, that's pretty sexy romance.
Uh-huh. For sure.
Yeah.
If you're not their mate.
Is he not actively trying to torture or kill her, but he is actively trying to prevent her idiotic death.
Yes.
That's romance.
I love it. Yeah. She does knock him out for it. And that's understandable too.
She does, yeah. Which then, I'm like, ooh, who am I the most attracted to? It's a hard call. So that's the journey I was on.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so she's like, I'm going to tie him up, and I'm going to treat his wounds a little bit, and then I'm going to interrogate him is what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah. He has a big old hole in his side, which is like mildly, it matters, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't care. But like it is relevant-ish, I guess.
Yeah. The reason I don't care is because they've told me so many times how quickly he heals, and like all of them heal and stuff.
Yeah, but the point is that she doesn't know that. So it is like the vehicle for a bunch of interaction with the bodies.
Yeah.
With the bodies. That's why I'm like, I guess we can mention that he has a wound, that she's like, I'm going to put some bandages on this wound, and I'm going to sacrifice some of my precious, precious fucking water that I
spent
purify
hours
like
purifying.
The most competent human. Oh my God, she's so hot.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So he wakes up, and he's like, oh, hello there. You were about to touch my tooth. It's a terrible idea. And she is like asking him a bunch of questions. No, he doesn't do that.
I feel like he's
fanfic.
like, that he communicates effectively.
Yeah, that
is sexy fanfic.
Fanfic.
Oh, that man, he gave me information that I needed.
Oh, he let me make an educated choice.
Anyway, we can keep going with the real thing that happened, which was not that.
No, he doesn't do that at all.
That's how you can tell that Clickanians are related to humans.
Yeah.
They're descended. Sorry, I hope that wasn't spoilers.
No, it's not. We already know that, I think.
Yeah,
right
I think we do. Yeah, I think we learned that in like book 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
because that's why the fertility trials are happening. The illegal, really bad fertility trials are happening.
Yeah. We're like the monkeys of...
Yes.
I'm not evolutionarily educated enough to know which kind of monkey I should say, and that it's an ape and not a monkey. Probably I don't know. Please don't come at me. I'm not on Facebook anyway. You guys don't just don't.
It's true.
Don't. You'll have to send mail to me directly. I want a handwritten letter with all of my criticisms. That's the least you could do. If you have criticisms for me, I'm going to make you find a fucking pen.
Actually, I think a heroine in one of the books that's going to come out probably before this episode literally says that to the hero. She's like, if you're going to break up with me, you are going to give me a handwritten letter so that I can like dramatically like mourn our relationship and then burn the letter.
What?
I don't know if this is a fever dream or not, but I think it happened.
I'm enjoying it no matter what. I don't care where it came from.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't most books are maybe possibly like start out as a fever dream?
I hope so. The best
so
ones
the fever
I feel
dream
like
is like the monkey of Clickanians.
Right.
Does that bring us back? Did I do a good job?
You did a great job. What a segue.
I would like a virtual pat on the head.
So he's like, he wakes up and she's like, who are you? What are you? Why are you?
Interrogatory sexiness.
That's exactly the one. Yeah. And he says, I'll tell you whatever you want to know as long as you keep me apprised of my eyeballs. Okay? I gotta know.
Reminder to listener that if you find your mate, your eyeballs turn black. And also, get on fucking Patreon because I don't remember your gestures being this delicious. Maybe it's just because like I get to see them in real time. But I thought you were mostly like, you give good nostril, but you give good gesture. It's very distracting. Which is why we're here, so it's perfect. Keep going. I will pay close attention to your words and gestures.
Absolutely. So then she's like, eyeballs, huh? And he's like, yeah, it has to do with my health is all. Nothing else. Nothing regarding my penis or your vagina, just my health. And she's like, cool sauce. I can do that.
Yeah, because if he was like, okay, so let me know about my eyeballs because if they turn black, you are mine forever. I get to keep you like a pet.
Uh-huh. This is Clickania. All right?
My mom, powerful, very into whatever romance that I want.
My mom is a literal queen. Okay?
Yes.
She's a queen
but
and
so
a
is
queen.
Lily.
Oh, she truly is. She truly is. Because she's just like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell you a fucking thing. And like, I fixed you or whatever, but you can go fuck yourself, honestly. And he's like, yeah, all right, that does seem to track.
That does track.
And he finds out like throughout this conversation that she's one of the two humans that fucked off last time and wasn't one of the newly liberated ones. And so he's like, are you kidding me? You're the person who like pulled that stupid move? That's bananas. And she's like, how dare you? You don't know me.
And they're both right.
Yeah. You don't know me. You don't know the status of my intellect, you dick nose. And she's really offended. And I also don't blame her on this count.
No, she's been surviving for 2 weeks in the fucking wilderness and is like traumatized from the idea that her friend might have died. Mm-hmm. And then he's like gonna come at her competence. She's like, it's literally all I have left. You need to get off it.
Yes, absolutely. So he's like, well, I'm gonna come with you because obviously you need a big, strong man. He
That's
doesn't
not
say
until the
that.
next morning.
But that is, yeah. Then, oh, yeah, that's right. Because then she goes
it's
and
very
sleeps in a
important to me
tree.
that she climbs into the tree. And he goes, do you usually sleep in trees? And I don't know what she says. I don't know. Don't worry about it or something.
None of your business.
But then
where
he's
I
like,
sleep.
basically, he's like, but like, what's your name though? And then the Duchess gives him permission to use her first name. That's how the chapter ends after their meet cute chapter, which I loved.
Oh my God, you're
and
totally
I thought you
right.
might have as well.
I did. Yeah.
The last line of the book is Lily. Oh no, yes, it is, because he goes, sleep well, Lily.
Oh yeah, sleep
but
well,
in
Lily.
sexy Stephen Dexter voice, not in Nick is tired voice.
Yeah, so then she gets a terrible night of sleep because she, in fact, does not usually sleep in trees.
Accurate.
And he gets a terrible night of sleep because he's worried about her falling out of tree.
Isn't that how I like listed a couple of things? I'm like, we should just read Victoria Aveline because she is queen.
Yes.
And I gave you a couple of books, and I was like, this one, honestly, the way I can describe it is that, like, if you need a sexy man who's going to lose sleep over concern that you're going to fall out of a tree, this is the one.
Yeah. You started it by saying, this would be a good one because it is the most perfect book ever, or something like that.
Yes, I think I did. I'm so glad I didn't build it up too much and possibly
you delivered.
Set the ground for, okay, good. Because I was like, that is maybe setting up a friend in a way that is not kind.
Nope, it works
There's
for me.
nowhere to go but down from, like, this is the perfect book. I think I just said, this one, oh, well, this is the perfect book. So
It is. You're right.
Maybe it was a test. Anyway, keep going.
So then the next morning, he wakes up and she wakes up and he's loose. He has gotten loose because he just busted out of those ropes. And she's like, God damn it, that was a strong rope that I made with my hands.
And tied really good. I'm so smart.
I do good knot, okay?
I give good knot.
Yeah.
That's our next book.
I like it. Oh my God. It's a BDSM Omegaverse.
Oh the layers.
Oh shit.
Oh God, I like blew out my voice this weekend, and laughing is making it so much worse, and I'm glad you could be part of it. / the cause of it.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go with you. And she's like, you definitely don't need to go with me. In fact, I don't want you to, because can you hunt? And he's like, probably. She's like, can you identify edible plants? And he's like, well, certainly better than you can, human. And she's like, okay, can you like do anything else? And he's like, I have strong muscle, I guess. And she's like, okay,
I give
well,
good muscle.
Yeah.
I'm blue.
Yeah. I do a camouflage that I think you would like.
Super good.
Uh-huh. And so she's like, okay, what I'm hearing you say is I'm just going to have to survive while also providing for like a 6'6" dude who doesn't know how to do anything. And he's like, because in Clicania, okay, the dudes have to provide and care and nurture for the relationship, period, the end. They have to do the cooking and the cleaning and the childcare, and they also have to fight
and sexual proficiency classes. Just don't want to skip over those too quick.
Sexual proficiency is important to me, Melody, and Nick.
And to Nick as well. Sexual proficiency would be appreciated.
Yeah.
Later on to Lily. Lily is like very appreciative of their educational structure.
Yeah. And so he's like, yeah, I mean, the only people who came out of your research facility were ladies. So I hope that the rest of the women are as resourceful and brave and competent as you are. And it kind of gives me hope for their, survival. But it is going to be hard without dudes around. And she's like, he's a misogynist. Oh my God, he hates ladies. He doesn't think we can do anything. And so she's like, why? Why do you think that we would need the dudes? I've been fine. I've been just fine. And he says, well, I don't know.
My little enigma.
What? Oh, yeah. He
doesn't
says,
say, I don't know why I found that line so cute.
No.
You, my little enigma. And now I've forgotten the rest of the line. So that's all I've got, guys. I hope it was good for you. Also, wait, can I slow that down just the tiniest bit? Because there are two parts of that journey that I love. Yeah. One, she's like, why do you want to come with me? Yeah. And her internal monologue is, pretend that you don't want him to come with you. It was so relatable. Where you're like, I don't need you. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Life is so hard. I just want help. And I'm lonely and I'm scared and it's very wilderness out here.
Absolutely.
I've done that. I'm like, it's very wilderness out here, but I will not show any fear. I feel fine.
I'm a predator.
Everything's okay. And then the best part is when he is like, your competence and also your loyalty, how dedicated you are to looking for Alex gives me hope for these humans that I haven't actually interacted with that much, because, oh my God, you're so impressive. And she was like, oh my God, like that. Mm-hmm. And she also made the point, which was such a beautiful little like detail, is that it didn't sound like he was trying to give her a compliment. It just sounded like he was stating something. It was
just a fact.
And she's like, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Because it's something I feel good about. It's not like I don't have to question whether or not he's trying to say things or bloat this opinion of me. He's just kind of declaring this almost with a little bit of annoyance. Yes. Where he's like, how dare.
It's a begrudging.
Like, I am great. I am great.
Uh-huh.
And then he keeps going. And he's like, but I didn't see many men with them. So like, hopefully everything will be fine. And she's like, the fuck, man.
Yeah,
like,
you were doing so well.
Why does this happen? Maybe that was my own process where I'm just like, why does it happen? Where it's like, it's a compliment, but it's like, but you know, tits or whatever. I don't know. And then you're just like, wait, are you awful? Like, are you trying to be great? I'm always poised for like kindness to be followed by something wretched. So it was just a very relatable process for me to read. And then she's like, what the fuck, man? And like, she goes on this big grumpy rant, understandably.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. This book is so good because his perspective is very understandable. Her perspective is very understandable. Yeah. It is such a good use of him being an alien.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It's like, no. Our cultures are similar because we're descended from similar people. So we have similar capabilities. So it makes sense that we would have a lot of things in common in our cultures. But there are differences and we don't understand each other. And that is creating these perceptions that each of us is like the worst.
Yeah. Both of them have to realize like they can't bring their own baggage to any conversation.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, he says, go ahead.
Oh, so he's like, oh, I just meant because we're taught fighting in school.
Yeah,
so
he's
I assume that you're human men. We're also taught fighting in school because we're responsible for components of safety. Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
I want to be like, she was like, I'll take several seats, but she wasn't. She was like,
she was more like,
gently back off a little bit.
Fine. And then she walks away, basically.
She's like, I still don't know about you. Yeah. And she's right. She's right. Yeah. She doesn't know about him.
And so he says that like, it was specifically when he was in husbandry school. So like after a little while later, she's like, so you're a farmer? Huh? You do farm stuff? And he's like, what are you talking about? No. Husbandry school is like how to manage a wife and a household and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, yeah, I see. You just want to manage a wife. What is that? Like telling her what kind of meals you want her to cook and like how to clean that sink and like do that faster or whatever. And he's like, you could not be further off. Like at all. She's like, I guess.
But his ego is so, like, that is his big thing, is that his ego is so high, which, okay, let's be honest, I relate to this a little bit too much. Oh no, I feel seen, the bad kind. I'm just going to talk from here. Will that be a good podcast if I slip into my shirt and confess things? I'm just going to, like, raise my shirt above my eyeline and just be like, okay, so here's the thing about me. I'm the worst. But I try to hide it well. How am I doing?
You're doing great. Whatever makes this a safe space for you.
I'm trying so hard not to bang on things. My arms are doing such weird things. I'm like, don't slam stuff. Don't clap. Don't do things. Don't make her edit. She's an important podcaster.
Dream guest.
Oh, I love you. I was going to confess.
Yes, confess to me.
That it is something that I have to do where I've had to work through this. It was worse. It was really bad in my 20s where I did not always have a lot of confidence in, I didn't have a lot of competence either, actually. That was just a Freudian slip. But I didn't have a lot of confidence in like what other people would produce.
Okay.
And so I would sometimes be kind of Verakkish. Because so much of his energy is like when he first lands in the forest and he's like getting a little bit better when he's tied up, he's like, oh fuck, I need to get back because those fucking pack of idiots. He's like, I have to get back so the queen knows what happens, even though there were like 4 or 5 guys or something there, and there was only one enemy left. So it's very much a display of like, oh, he just has like a sort of flawed view of whether or not other people are like on Verakko's level.
Well, and he's also a bit of a control freak, you know.
There's that. I just wasn't going to use those words because I would feel seen the bad kind.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
but
think
yes, he is.
I don't think it's a bad thing because he is very competent in what he knows how to do. You know,
it's true.
He also has no problem admitting when he doesn't have any idea what he's doing. Yeah. Do you think?
I can hunt better than you. It was like at the beginning of their interaction, he was like, what are goats, lady? Except he was bringing big competence energy. He's like, I'm super good at this. I've never done it before. I just assume.
Well, okay. Yes. Yeah, totally right.
Okay.
But like once he figures out that she is like actually good at this and it's not like just brawn or whatever, he's like, okay, if you can show me how to make a fire, then I will make fire. Like, show me how to do this and I will do for you.
And let me do things. Yeah. I want to bring, I want to be competent.
Me help
I just want to contribute.
Is what Verakko says.
He doesn't know that that's what he's asking her to do. You're giving, for a listener who has not read book.
It's so funny.
Listener is like, wait. I hope this intro, maybe I skipped the trigger warnings because I'm not into P-play. They're like, I just do scat play. I'm sorry. I can't be here for this.
Can't do it. No, yeah. So later on, like they wake up and she uses a wilderness toothbrush and stuff. And then she's like, I'll just do this. And then I have to go. I just have to go into the forest for a minute and then we can leave. And he's like, well, let me get whatever you need in the forest. And she's like, no worries. It'll just take me like 2 minutes or whatever. And he's like, no, I insist. Like, you have to let me do something. You have to let me help. Let me help whatever is in the forest. And she's like, I have to pee so you can let me pee in peace. And he's like, gosh darn it. Yeah. So
and then, because he's a little sad boy, she comes back and he's using her toothbrush. I'm sorry, I know that we're skipping ahead, but since we're here, I'm going to point out that he's using her toothbrush. And I was going to ask you how you felt about this.
I am anti share toothbrush. Anti.
I'm complicated about share toothbrush.
Okay.
Because I'm like, ew, but like, I'll do it. And I think it's because in my head, I'm like, I don't know why I'm making it weird, but I also like very much love a clean mouth. So I don't know. I feel like I'm on a journey regarding share toothbrush.
That makes sense.
So I was just trying to get your opinion so you could shape my personality for me. I'm not doing it so good.
No, actually.
Because I've been in this complicated phase for like 10 years.
That's like probably closer to where I am because like I'm like anti it on the face of it, right? But then every once in a while, bitch will slip up. And I end up using Michael's toothbrush or whatever. And then I realize afterwards that I've done it. And I don't like turn into a puddle on the floor. You know, I'm just like, oh, that wasn't great. And then I move on with my day, you know? So I know it's not like catastrophic, but on the face of it, we should have 2. As a couple of 2 people, we should have 2.
That's true. That's true. But what if that couple of 2 people? See, this is one of the reasons it's an interesting element in this book is because she gets so mad, which is fine, but it does bring a bit of Pris energy because they are in the forest, and that is one where I would sit back and go ew, but like let it happen because I'd also be. It's symbiotic for his mouth to be less gross. Not just because
Not
of
right
makeup.
now.
No.
Oh, because breath.
How much? Maybe I'm like a face talker. Maybe I'm one of those people who doesn't know I have like an inappropriate closeness. I also have a very good sense of smell, which is the last fucking sense that I would want to be heightened.
Oh,
but
no.
I can't create my human experience.
Yeah.
I have such a good sense of smell. So I will be talking to people and I'm just like, trying not to let.
Have I
the
told you
smell
that's
their
one of my
breath-
biggest fears?
No.
Yeah.
Am I just like creating a nightmare for you?
No,
I'm just
not
planting
quite.
seeds
It's always
for your
been
brain
there.
to turn over at
It's
night?
always been
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Michael also has a very good sense of smell, and it's bullshit. And I don't know how he lives with me. No, but one of my like worst fears is that I smell and I don't know it, and everyone around me know it. Like you know how sometimes you walk into a friend's house when you were a kid and it smelled like soup. You know,
Yes.
I'm constantly
Yes.
afraid that's my house. I'm
I'm
constantly
like, why
afraid.
is it seasoning in here?
Yeah. I'm constantly
Yes.
afraid that I smell terrible, but only I know it. Michael will say, "No, you just smell little human." Little human. And I'm like, "Ah!"
Oh my
And
god.
then I go
That
shower.
spin doctor needs to take several seats because that is not helpful feedback.
Also, Valor Chen is vicious. She is a 4-year-old terrorist, and it's so mean.
In what way? Like her feedback? Or
Yes,
is she just like a
both.
very smelly child and you're worried that she got it from you?
Both.
Oh, okay.
So,
This is the journey. Take me on it.
Yeah.
Take my
So
hand.
she has weird sensory issues about mystery wetness and smell.
Okay.
And which doesn't help when you have a very perma-sweaty mother. Like, she's always touching me. She's like, "Oh, you're wet. It's so gross, Mom." And then, like, I'll like have coffee breath, or like, you know, something will happen and she'll be like, "Oh, Mom, oh, you smell bad. Oh, Mom, why you smell like that? Ugh."
I mean, I kind of do love this energy from an AFAB, though.
Meanwhile, she has the smelliest butt in this house. Okay?
Oh my.
She did get that from me, but she can stink a room out, okay? And it's like, have a seat, ma'am. This is a glass house situation, okay? Shut your mouth.
Take several seats, my child.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
I actually really enjoyed that smell journey. I will say also my worst fear. I'm always worried I'm a stinky, stinky kitten.
Yeah.
And I do not trust people. The other day I went, it was a few weeks ago. Quick story.
Yeah, please.
I snapped. Oh no.
You're fine.
I went out to like a bar after a thing and I was like with all of these new people. It was like a new social situation. Everyone was so nice and lovely and kind. And I was like, oh my God, these are like the best people I've ever met, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got home and there was a little bit of barbecue sauce on my face. Right here for anybody looking at the video. So it's not like it's somewhere kind of covert. It is like part
in the middle
of
your cheek.
my expression. It is
Right.
part of my soul now. It is basically a nose made
It's
of
a
barbecue
dimple.
sauce.
Yeah.
It's a dimple of barbecue sauce. And I was like, those fuckers.
Yeah.
I take back every nice thing. I take back all of the good feelings I had. I was so upset. I was like, all right, I can't, if I have bad breath, these people will not tell me. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be
Noted.
honest with me. So I'm like, I know I
Nope.
smell. I know I do.
I know certain people who will be honest with me, but I'm not around them enough.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Also,
fair.
HB Jazz, who's like my precious Jasmine. Sorry,
Yeah.
most people call her Jasmine. She is like, she'll tell you the truth, but she does it in such a like loving way that you forget to be insecure about it. It's So, but I don't get to spend enough time around Jazz. She'll just be like, "Oh, sweetie, do you have a thing? Like, let's get you fixed up."
I love it. So, okay, what happens
we're-
now?
Even are we?
They
Oh, right.
keep going in that forest, and
They're after their forest meet cute. I'm on the second page of my notes, but they run out very quickly.
Excellent.
So it's
Excellent.
only going to take us so far.
So then she asks about husbandry school, and he's like, it's the opposite of misogyny. And she's like, huh, interesting. And then he basically explains that their society is a matriarchy. And he says enough to where she's like, oh, I'm an idiot. He might be egotistical and whatever, but he's not a misogynist. So, okay. Because her internal monologue the whole time has been like, yeah, this might be miserable for me, but he has to learn from a lady. So I bet it's even worse for him. And it's not true. It's just that he's really gruff because he feels useless. And the whole like point of view in their society, because there's like 20 men to every woman, is you need to bring some shit to the table or you are useless, period, the end. And you're not eligible for marriage.
It's like living as a dating profile.
Yeah.
It's like your resume better be apparent
Top
at
notch.
all times or you will not find a partner.
Absolutely.
Of any kind.
Yeah.
It is tragedy.
Yeah. Okay, so they keep going and they're looking for Alex the whole time. At some point, they find a note from Alex, right?
Oh,
it's way later,
we are
though.
Skipping way ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so what am I skipping?
That's after Haugak. Do you remember Haugak?
No, I don't remember Haugak.
Oh my God, that word, it was the moment I was like, I think I'm in love with Victoria Aveline. So they have the day that they settle down. We're kind of going okay in a linear-ish fashion.
Yeah.
It's fine. You guys haven't read the book. You don't know. But they end up settling. So like they're walking through the forest, getting to know each other. And then that night is the night she's like, okay, you wanted to learn bow drill. I teach bow drill. Here's how do bow drill. And then he's like, where are you going? Because she starts to kind of like creepy toward the forest line. And he's inquiring like, the fuck you going? And she's like, oh, I'm just going to, I don't even remember what her excuse is.
I'm just going to get water.
Get water. That's right.
That's all.
And then you like enter her POV and she's like, little does he know, I'm going to clean my body. Yeah. It's so mischievous.
Well, because she's like, it took me forever to learn how to use a bow drill. So he's going to be busy for a minute.
Right. Yes. She's like, he's not going to figure it out before the end of the night. So I'm going to get back. He's going to be frustrated. I'm going to be clean and I'm going to get to be a hero.
So great.
This is amazing. And maybe a little bit of a victory lap. Like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Look what I've been doing. So she starts to, I kind of love the detail of she starts to wander into the water with her clothes as she normally does. And then she's like, wait, I was abducted in a white shirt. This will not be the most functional option. So she removes, Victoria Aveline. Sorry, I keep saying your name, but it's like a chant because you're my God. But it's because I'm like, oh my God, I just love how well she constructs the reasons that all of this shit is happening.
Yeah.
Because she removes her clothing so that she doesn't have to go back in like a wet white shirt.
Right.
So she's in the little lake naked and I don't know. She's probably having some kind of internal monologue that's super relevant and wonderful, but I've forgotten it. So we're going to move on to the point where Verakko just like appears out of the trees with a torch because like night is, it's like dusk or so or something.
And that's why he was worried about where she was going. He's like, it's getting very dark. Yeah. You're
so good at plot. You give good plot. But he shows up with a torch and she's like, first of all, she's like, I am naked. I am naked. Oh, no. But then she's like, that fucker, how did he manage to make fire?
Yeah.
How dare? And then we get his internal monologue and he's like, I'm not going to tell her how fucking hard it was to figure that out. But I have a renewed respect for the ease with which he uses this fucking thing. Yeah. So it's adorable. They're both having like a competency boner of bitterness.
Yeah. It's so true. A bitter competency boner. It's so funny.
I love the nuance of it. And then he's like, well, I guess I'll get clean too. And she's like, no, go back. Go away. I am naked. And he's like, why are you the only person who gets to get clean / naked? And so, yeah, she like turns her back as he's undressing and he jumps into the water. And then I assume Melody has this memorized.
Yeah, he goes swimming and swimming and swimming. And she's like looking around being like, where's he going to pop up? Oh no. Oh no. Is he looking at my body underwater? Oh no. And he pops up and he's like, oh, hello there. And he's behind her. She's like, bah! And so she turns around. They end up like flirting a little bit. And do they talk about anything important in the water? I don't think so.
I don't know.
At one point,
like my brain paints pictures, so that's what I was really focused on.
No, same. Well, so she goes underwater at some point.
In water.
Yeah.
He did not peek under the water, even though he could have, because he has a second lid like a cat.
Yeah.
but she goes under the water and tries to peek, but the water's too murky.
Yeah. And then
You fucking pervert.
How dare you? And then she comes up and he's like, did you get a good look? How was it down there? And she's like, I wouldn't ever.
I would never look. I just really
didn't cross my mind.
It's the one thing I'm like, I kind of wish she'd slipped and just been like, I couldn't see anything. Oh, I mean, I didn't look. Which would have been my move, because I'm like compulsively honest like an idiot. If I'm not on, then I'm normally just going to blurt shit that I shouldn't.
That's relatable. Yeah. So he ends up getting out, and then she's like, go back to camp. Goodbye. Go back so I can get dressed. And he's like, you think I couldn't just camouflage and watch you? Like, you're better off with my back turned so that you know I'm not watching. Not that I would, you know. And so she's like,
and I don't know if it's internal monologue or said aloud that he's basically just like, I don't want her to walk back through the dark by herself.
No.
I just want to go with her.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Super fair. Super fair. So they end up going back, and then like at some point, like the next day or something like that, she decides that they should play checkers.
Oh no, it's that night because they get back.
Why?
She's following behind him, so he's not really looking at her. They get back and there's a fire, so there's a little bit more light. And he turns around and like they're talking about who cares what, probably something wonderful and genius. But I'm sorry, there's sexiness happening and I am distracted. Because
she's wearing a black bra.
And she's in her white, she's wearing a black bra. So of course, I mean, her plan was good, I guess, but I didn't know about the black bra situation.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit like,
hey girl,
your bra is gonna get, it's fine. Because she was wearing her bra, I think, in the lake, I don't remember. Because then her shirt gets wet because her bra is wet. And
No. She's not wearing it, remember? Because this was also sexy. Two things were sexy. One.
Oh.
When he comes to the shore, I'm so sorry, listener. How dare I?
You're right.
When he comes to the shore, he picks up her bra and he's like, I have never seen underwear like this, underclothing or whatever he says. And then he like puts it back where she was. And then in the drink, she's like trying to rinse her hair without putting her tits up over the water. And I just loved all of it. I loved all of it.
That is a very good correction. We should not miss the part. Because there is just such a thing to that, such a relatable thing to that, where it's like, oh no, they're seeing my undergarments and I have sexy feelings about them. And I don't know if they have sexy feelings about me. So for them, it might just be like, look at thing. And I'm just like, makes me think of genitals.
And you're like, it touches my nipples all the time. What? Oh, that doesn't matter to me. Or anyone.
I feel fine about this. I feel normal feelings about this. I will not accept follow-up questions, but I just want to register
anywhere.
that I feel fine about this. I feel totally normal. Don't listen to my voice. I just have a frog in my throat because I'm in the lake.
Yeah. Sorry, so he sees the black bra. Then what happens, Nick?
You're right. So he sees the black bra and they're in the middle of a conversation and he's like, and she's like, okay, I know. We're just going to have to be adults about this. And he goes, I'm going to go hunt. And he just turns and goes into the forest. And she's like, wait, what the fuck? It's dark and dangerous. And he's like, camouflage, remember? It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm midnight blue and sexy. So he goes into the forest and then the next chapter, I believe, opens and it's like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
She's fuming because he's not back and she's worried.
Yeah.
And then she starts, this is a part where she starts thinking about, it's just kind of sweet, so I will include it.
Please.
Because I remember that she starts thinking about Alex, and she's like,
oh yeah,
I'm running from the potential knowledge that she could be gone. Like, we haven't found any evidence of her, and it's possible. I might cry. Oh my God.
I know.
I'm in a very emotional place. It's fine. I like that. I love how much I say it's fine for other people. I'm like, it's fine. It's like I'm telling you how it's going to be. Like, you're going to be fine with this. If I cry, you're going to be perfectly comfortable and not make me feel weird.
I will be.
I believe in you. I'm just saying, like, this is an energy that maybe I should not always bring as a default. Moving on. Introspection is for later. It's fine. So she starts thinking about Alex and like that knowledge sinking in that it's possible that she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And she starts to cry and just feel really overwhelmed by the guilt. And then she's feeling guilty because she's keeping her and Verakko out in the forest and making them, because that's something we didn't include, is when he first found her, he's like, all right, let's turn and go back because we're close to a city. And she's like, fuck that. I have to go downriver.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? That's dumb and bad. And she was like, fuck you. So that was a fun dynamic that we skipped.
It was,
But they've been going downriver away from his city, which the Queen of Tremonta, has granted the humans a lot of autonomy and rights
Right.
that are not necessarily going to take place in the other territories. One of those territories being downriver, which is his home city where his mother is queen.
Yeah.
And their sense and connection to tradition is just a lot more active and deep-rooted.
Yeah.
Not deep-rooted, just like they feel
It's much
differently
more
about
present.
tradition.
Yeah.
Yes. It's, I was going to say, it's very like Tremonta is the like city where things kind of progress a little faster.
Right.
And he's from like a small town, basically, where they're like, hey, matehood is just like what it is, and rights are stupid.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair. But so
It's
he's
close.
like, we should go back to he does not tell her this, which is actually super fucking plot relevant. I cannot believe we didn't mention this.
Shoot.
Because this becomes the entire conflict.
Yeah.
Oopsie. I did a big whoops. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you all of the important things because he's hot and blue. And she's competent and I want to fuck them both. It's
Yeah.
fine. They're fictional. It's all right. But yes, so he's like, we could have gone straight back to Tremonta. It was like very close. But going downriver, she doesn't want to tell him why she wants to go downriver initially.
Yeah.
She doesn't share that with him because, first of all, she feels a lot of shame. She feels a lot of stress.
And
about
because
it,
he
and
made
she
a
doesn't know him.
shitty comment about it too.
Yeah.
She says, I've
Yeah.
been fine. And he's like, I heard there were,
I thought there were two of you.
If you're so fine, where the fuck is she? And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, no.
And she storms away because she started to cry, which was very, very relatable
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
I'm going to stomp away like I'm mad because I'm crying. And how dare you know that I have feelings? So that was the initial meet, was that they could have gone back to Tremonta, but they've been going downriver because she wanted to. She does, I think the next day, share with him about Alex.
Yeah.
He does not share with her about the situation where he's like, there's a lot of certainty in us going back to Tremonta. The reason he doesn't want to share it is because her experience of aliens has been entirely negative.
Right.
And he's like, I don't want to give her more reason to fear for her safety and her life because it's going to be hard for her to trust me as it is.
Yeah.
So it does make sense where he's coming from, but it is one of the more well-crafted, to me, just for my own personal preference, reasons that there's a lot of not dishonesty, but concealing the truth, which is like removing a lot of agency, which is hard to do.
It's really hard to do.
In a
but
way
I mean,
that doesn't make me throw books across room.
Right. To your point, though, Verakko thinks that he's slow rolling everything, but because they're on such a tight timeline, it's tantamount to omitting it. You know, like he's trying to like ease her in to what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. He's trying to ease her in, not realizing that like he has to tell her now or she doesn't know. You know?
Yeah.
So, so he gets back and he has meat. And he cooks that meat for her. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's the animal. And I just love the word for some reason. It's just so delightful.
It's very fun.
He's like, yeah, let's make some roasted haugak. And I was like, ooh, that sounds delicious. What the fuck is it? And then they're like, it's rust-colored meat. And I was like, I'm just going to skip that part.
We're just going to keep it moving.
That's not quite as tasty. As in, it's rust-colored when it's cooked.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
they
like,
roast the
makes her,
haugak.
like a little plate.
Oh wait, fuck! This is why we were talking about their initial thing. Is that she was crying when he got back. He's like, I found meat, and she turns around, and he can see that she's been crying, and it's actually really, really sweet. Which is now I remember why I was talking about it. Because he comes up, he like sets the haugak down, like spear in ground.
Yeah.
Haugak is safe from dirt. I just needed that to be true for me. And he goes over to her, and I think there's some kind of like he like puts his hands on both of her shoulders or something, and says, "I can help if you'll let me." And what he's saying is he can use his sway to help relieve her guilt.
Yeah,
which I think he does actually explicitly say, like, I can help alleviate some of the guilt if you'll allow my sway in. Because did we mention that she's been able to shake off his sway?
we didn't. It's silly of us.
We've done a big whoops. I'm so sorry.
Fine. Yeah,
but we know how you feel about smells. So, we did cover the important things.
Exactly.
Shit.
Yeah, she can just be like, what the fuck are you doing in my head? And the other thing, she's been like, get out of my head. I don't know what you're doing, but it feels like a witchy spell and you got to stop it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing
witch.
is that he always smells amazing to her. He smells like cedar all the time.
Yes.
And so she's like,
cedar.
yeah. So she's like, I don't understand what your whole smell thing is, but like, you got to rein it in. Like, whatever this bring your prey to you smell situation you've got going on, stop it. And
I think the bring your prey to you thing is something he thinks about.
maybe.
I don't think it's something she thinks about, because if she did, she would kind of understand what the cedar was before she does.
You're right. You're totally right.
I think it's this night that he describes what that is. Because then it ends up being like an expression of trust that she shares the story about what burning cedar means to her.
Yeah.
Which I think is this night. So we're actually, oh my God, Melody, we are fucking on target.
We are.
We're so good at this plot, and we haven't missed anything.
No, it's not until they do cool things together. Then after it's post orgasm that she shares it.
Right.
Yeah. No worries. We're almost there.
Spoilers,
I know.
Melody. They might have thought that I gave you a very chaste book because I didn't want you to like me. I was a little bit like, what if I find like a really nice Christian romance? Because then I won't have to have this weird conundrum where I talk about sex things on a public forum because I don't know how I feel about it. I just want you to know, like, current state right now, like I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm like, how will I deal with that? Am I comfortable? Is it fine? What level of detail am I going to go into?
I can do all the talking about it.
But yes, I'm going to like just kind of feel it out when I get there. So we'll see how it goes. And we'll see how red I get.
I can do all of it if we need me to.
Oh my God.
No worries.
I knew you'd be a gentle podcaster.
So, he cooks for her, and this is when she's like, explain sway to me. And he's like, okay, I'll he explains it to her. And then she's like, all right, show me. I want to see if you can like actually do it to me. And he's like, well, you've been a weirdo who can shake it off really easily. So I doubt it. You have to like sort of either like you have to let it in. And she's like, all right, I'll let you in or whatever. Ooh! And so
consent boner so hard. I'm just like rock hard through this whole thing.
I know.
With how much dexterous consent Victoria weaves into this scene.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's like, all right, show me. And so he tells her that it's really cold out. Ooh, it's so cold. And she's just freezing. And it gets to the point where she like starts huddling into him. And she's snuggling.
Like, Verakko, I'm so cold.
Snuggling into his firm.
And she crawls into his lap.
Yeah.
And
he's like, oh no, but I love this. And like with their culture, he never thought that he would like cuddle with a wife or a girlfriend or anything.
Yeah, we have left out a lot of super relevant things, which is that there has typically, so they have marriages, but there is a lot of very wise manufactured emotional distance. Even in book one does this really great thing where they talk about the fact that wives do not interact with pets.
Right.
Because it is one more thing that they will have to leave, because marriages are short-term contracts meant for procreation because women are so rare on this planet. So they have short contracts with different partners so that they can try to procreate and then to continue the line, which how does this not lead to like serious incest problems?
Right.
But then they go with, like their contract ends and they can either extend it if like maybe they're having some success and they want to try for another child, or they haven't, or they just like each other. Like you can kind of extend it. There's also really interesting things. Read the books, people.
Read the books. Because in book 4, they go into a bunch of the complications about if you continue your contract, like sort of indefinitely and you become like an ostracized woman.
Divisty? Yeah, I think that's the word. You're a divisty?
No, it's not a divisty.
That's not it?
That's a Ruby Dixon sheep cow.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. I'm getting my very talented writers mixed up.
No, it's something like that.
I would love it if they were just like, you're a ram.
You're a sheep cow.
You're an alien sheep. Damn it. Now I'm going to have to look that up. Also, this might be a good time for us to mention, because I don't think we have yet, that he is under contract. They have not started their marriage, but the contract has been negotiated.
Yeah.
So that is the big.
He's getting married in 2 weeks.
Daisy. Yep.
And so, like now,
not with any connection. Like they don't even know each other. But his mother in his city.
Yeah, in Mithrandir. Yeah,
in Mithrandir, the matriarchs negotiate the contracts with potential wives. And I think what he says is, because at one point she's like, oh, when he tells her about that, because he does tell her about the basic setup, like this is how things function here, which is another thing that's very relevant, because another thing that's super lovable about Lily is that she's in her inner, she fucks it up a lot, which is also relatable.
Yeah.
But she, in her inner monologue, is constantly like, I know better. My parents really gave me a good sense of like, you cannot come into another culture and think you understand it enough to pass judgment.
Yeah.
So I need to like not judge this culture that I'm not part of and I don't understand, which is lovely. And I it feels like one of the things that's really nice about both of these inner monologues is they're very safe brains to the end, which is another reason I listen to this book over and over, and it's the perfect book. But he explains that they're short contracts, except he does explain one mating scenario from book 2. You can read that too, where he's like, oh no, that's like that's what humans would call like a love match. They'll be together forever.
Yeah, that's when like the markings show up on the hands and everything, and it hasn't happened in like 100 years or something. But the interesting thing for him is that he's got this sort of niggling feeling that she is special and special to him and maybe his, but it can't be true because his eyes haven't changed. And no, he's got blank hands. He's just like, my hands are normal and stupid.
Yeah.
And he's kind of mad about it because
I don't have cool tattoos. Damn it.
Yeah. Because once he starts liking her and once he can tell she starts liking him, and she might be interested in figuring out like a relationship going forward, he's in a really tight spot because he's under contract. That just happened. He's getting married in 2 weeks, but he obviously has no feelings for this woman. And if he breaks the contract, he basically gets like sent off to a work camp for a little while. And the only way...
Well, it depends on how you break the contract.
Yeah, the only way to legally break the contract is if you show a mating situation. If you recognize your mate.
Eyes or hands.
Yeah, eyes or hands, exactly. And then if that happens, then he's free and clear. So he's like, I just need to recognize her. And he's like trying to talk his eyeballs into going black, and it's just not working. So after the sway thing, they're snuggling and he's like, okay, I can't do this because it's wrong because I am under contract and all this stuff. And so he's like, yep. So he puts her away and he's like, that's how sway works. Yeah, I told you I can do it. And she's like, oh.
And she was like, oh, I thought we were having a moment. And then we weren't having a moment. And this is embarrassing because the entire time he's feeling conflicted about the fact that he's like, I did not mean for this to happen. Like he was trying to do something innocuous by just being like, it's cold out.
Yeah, he's worried that he's like accidentally coerced her into touching him.
So he's expecting that she'll jump out of his lap. And she's like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. And she's just like in his lap. Because, you know, she thinks they're vibing, and they are.
And they are.
But it's complicated. It's complicated, girl. But yeah, that's when he's like, yeah, so told you I could do it.
Away.
And then she's like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is so humiliating. And then she's like, oh, yep, you did. And then
so then they like
she's like,
grumpily
right,
sleep.
I'm going to go to bed.
And she has bad
and she
dreams.
rolls over, and
it's
he's
terrible.
like, it is cold tonight. If you would, I don't need my shirt if you want it. And she's like, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. Thanks. Good. But he's just like, I'm trying to, oh, I feel so bad. Oh, I'm so conflicted. Oh no.
Yeah.
And so then I love the description of her waking up, and she's just like, I wake up to like the waves of humiliation that were just like waiting to crash back over me. Victoria Aveline says it way better. But she's like, she wakes up and she feels that thing, which I assume a lot of people have experienced, where you're like, oh, I'm fucking pissed. I'm in a terrible fucking mood. And the thing she thinks is so wonderful and brilliant and adult, because she's like, oh, I'm not like a safe person. Like I will not be able to moderate. Like what I need right now is just to let myself feel this way and to kind of burn off this mood. And so I don't remember their exact exchange, but she like sits up.
She says,
and
why
he's
don't
clearly
we,
like, oh.
Yeah, she says, why don't we say what's on our minds? And he's like, oh, well, I'm really sorry. And he's about to apologize for like coercing her. And she's like, nope. You don't have to apologize. It's totally fine. I misread the situation. I made a move. You weren't into it. And that's okay. But the other thing that has to be okay is that I'm not. And so I just need you to like walk far away from me, you know, so that I can just sort of process my feelings. And he's like standing there all rigid and his fists are clenched and and then he's like,
and she thinks he's feeling the awkwardness, and she starts to turn away, and he like puts a hand on her shoulder, and he's like, listen, you didn't misread anything. Oh. I just can't. Oh. And he doesn't explain, but he's like, you're not crazy. The feeling was there.
Yeah.
but there are reasons that I can't. And she's kind of going through what she's been made to understand about his culture, which is limited. And she understands that, where she's like, oh, he explained the situation where his mother decides his marriage. Like maybe they don't do casual at all. Maybe he can't do anything without the authorization of his mother, or some other thing I don't understand. And she's like, so you don't do casual? Like, I wasn't meaning for this to be serious. Right. And she's like, in her head, she's also like, the fuck am I talking about? Like, I don't know that that's true.
Yeah.
Been there. But that whole like journey she's on where she's trying to not make things worse, but to be like, I don't totally understand. I don't feel like I can totally ask. And I'm trying not to recreate the awkward situation that we're just kind of pulling ourselves out of. Right. But she understands that he is attracted to her. He just is unable for some reason that she doesn't necessarily get.
Yeah. And she thinks it's because like engage. He would need his mother's authorization. So just to sort of like put her emotional journey into a nutshell so that we can like, move through their conflict later on. She's thinking because he would need his mom's authorization that there's no way his mom would ever approve her. And so she's like, okay, so he thinks I'm not good enough to be with him, like in some way. Then she finds out that his mom is the queen of Mithrandir. And she's like, oh, so you're a prince. No wonder he doesn't think I'm good enough. No wonder his mom would never think about entering a contract with me. And so she's
like, I literally only have the clothes on my back. I got dropped on this planet with nothing.
Yeah.
And she's been told that she cannot go home.
Right.
Not important. Just be aware that she knows that she can't go back to Earth. Or she knows at least that going back to Earth she's like, laws can be changed and laws can be broken. There's currently not a path, but I'm going to kind of put a pin in it and not get too bogged down and not being able to go home. But I understand that that's the current situation.
Right.
Keep going, Melody. You're doing so well.
Oh, thanks. So she's like sort of working through that as they walk. And then they see one of Alex's notes. And it's adorable because he gets totally naked and crosses the river in order to grab the note and bring it back. And Alex has been like, hello, still alive. Hit my head. This sucks.
Hit my head. This sucks.
It's so funny. I love her.
It's so great. I also love that before he gets in the river, he goes, it's okay. You can look.
Yeah. I don't mind if you look. Oh, golly. It's really cute. So then they end up they sort of crisscross the river following her notes. And every time they do, he gets totally naked and she rides on his shoulders. He loves having her thighs around his head. She loves putting her vag right on the nape of his neck. They're both into it.
Slave to Sensation was the last time that I remember you doing this. I'm just starting to wonder if it's a thing for you.
What?
Because I was like, I'm going to take several seats because we are nearly 2 hours into our sesh. And I realized that like plot-wise, we're not like so far. But I got just totally like walloped over the head by the fact that you had to stop to be like, I just want you guys to know that her thighs are around his head and her vulva is pressing against the back of his head. And I need you guys to know that.
They know
because I knew that I just wanted to share.
You know it now. Yeah.
But I think they only crossed the river once because I'm just moving past it. Okay, maybe you're probably right about everything.
Listen,
always.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, honestly.
I didn't want us to pass by the Javisti. No, that's just the name of every animal.
Yeah. No, there's an attack by a sound wave monster.
Soundwave monster is actually the better way to identify it because then it tells the listener what we're talking about. But like they cross the river maybe 27 times, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And he hears something that she doesn't hear. Yeah. And he like grabs her and runs, I think, into the middle of the river.
Oh yeah. He just jumps.
Like so that
he leaps into the middle of the river.
That's right. And he like has her go ahead.
Oh yeah. Because the animal won't go into the river. It hates water. It's like a cat. And so they're both now covered, like their clothes are completely
giant
saturated.
Monster cat.
Yeah, Soundwave monster cat. Probably has scales though. Who knows? Little reptilian. And so now they're both totally soaking wet. Also, really quick, while they were over there, he was telling her a story about his childhood and why he's afraid of heights. And that is because he's always been like a little technology tinker man. And when he was a kid, he tried to make a candy-stealing drone. called the Bandit. And he was testing it on the 3rd floor, and he did do a slip and fall. And
he was testing on the 3rd floor of a building site, not even a building.
Yeah. So he did break like 15 bones in his tiny blue body.
Where there was no one around to find him for many, many hours.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Ooh.
But he, Bandit 2, it did steal a lot of candy for him. And
she was like, oh no, you never got to steal candy. And he was like, I'll have you know the Bandit 2 was very functional and very successful. How dare.
Yeah.
No, it's actually very cute, but it was funnier to deliver it the way that I did.
It's very cute.
But yeah, so now we've moved through major plot things. Look at us.
Yeah. So when they get to the other side of the river, they're like, well, the only thing to do to survive, is to take off all of our clothes and hang them up to dry and probably sleep naked and probably sleep naked together because body heat.
Because it's so cold.
Because survival.
You guys.
Yeah.
Cold is a real motivator in the sexy times of this book. So
I mean,
as
cold
fall moves in,
it's like rainforest cold.
It's gently below comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we have to get naked or we'll freeze.
We must huddle for warmth.
Oh no!
Even though earlier in the book she specifically says, I usually get in the lake with my clothes on because the warm air and gusts at night dry my clothes. It's like, you bitches are crafty, manufacturing this moment for yourselves. I appreciate that kind of ingenuity.
Same. And
slash lies.
On the same page the whole time, these two. What a team. So they end up laying down together, and he's like, okay, looking isn't too bad.
I don't think they're touching, right?
No.
They lay kind of like they're spooning, but with a tiny bit. So I guess this is a kink for me. You had to stop for the vulva against back of neck.
Yeah.
Delicious. There's something about feeling the heat of someone near you, but they're not quite touching you. That is very oh, hello.
Yeah.
Because they lay down, he lays down and she lays in front of him, and she can feel the heat of him behind her, but they are not making contact. And so they're both just laying there, aware of each other and aware of each other's nakedness. And then it does get to the part that Melody was just referencing where he was like, okay, so
he says,
I
turn
can't
over,
touch, but
get onto your
turn
back.
over.
I want to see you. And she's like, oh, is that okay? That's not one of the hard limits?
I thought you weren't allowed to do any sexy things. And he was like, I can look, I just can't touch.
Yeah. So then he starts hovering his hand over the parts of her body that he wants to touch. So she gets the heat of his hand. He's doing a sexy Reiki on her.
I was going to say, it gave me whatever that Josh Hartnett movie was that was awful. 40 Days and 40 Nights?
Oh, I've never seen that.
There's a scene? This is the only thing I remember from my childhood, basically.
Yeah, please.
There's a scene where he gives up sex for Lent, and he's like a super fuck boy.
Okay.
So it's like, oh no, I can't fuck anyone for 40 days. Go fuck yourself, man. Anyway, but there's a scene. So he meets the girl of his dreams during this 40 Days and 40 Nights. Is whatever, who cares about this plot? The point is that it gets him to a point where he's trying to finish the bet for plot reasons and not sleep with this dream girl. And I think not tell her either why he's not sleeping with her. He's just like, I got reasons. It's very Verakko, actually. It's kind of applicable.
Okay.
Where he's like, I'm not going to explain why. I'm just going to use the trust that we have not cultivated between us to give you mixed signals. So he takes feathers and he blows it across her body.
Oh my God.
And then there's a scene where she orgasms.
Okay.
There's
oh, there we go. One of those gentle cinematic orgasms.
You know what? Yes. Yeah. Very quiet and beautiful.
And
it's
just
practically art.
Gorgeous look on your face.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a breath.
Yeah.
That's how ladies orgasm when we're being polite.
Absolutely.
Very polite orgasm actually is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's blowing feathers across her body
gosh.
and she climaxes. And this is not exactly the same, but
pretty
he's
close
basically,
though. Yeah.
Yeah. So take it back.
So then she's like, well, does it work both ways? Can I touch you? And then she goes and she does grab onto his cock and she starts doing a mild handy and he does not want her to stop. But he grabs her hand and he shakes his head and he's like, no. And then she's like, well, fine then. So she starts trailing her hand down her body. And then she gets to her clitoris and he's like, show me. I want to see you. He says, show me what you like, I think.
Yes, I
And
think
so
he does say that.
then he
Oof.
watches her masturbate, and he's masturbating next to her, and she's thinking to herself, oh no, I don't have a big giant cock filling me. How could I ever actually climax? And so he says, let me in, let me sway you. And she's like, what could you possibly do that would help? And he's like, just trust me.
And so sound like a big dummy, and none of this happened, but except the important parts, which is the sway.
All of it
yes,
happened,
keep going.
yeah.
She wasn't like, how could I possibly?
In her brain parts, she did.
Okay, then I forgot.
Maybe not out loud, but in her brain parts, she totally did.
I was probably very, very quick to skip to the phantom cock. Keep going.
Yeah. So he's like, feel my giant shaft in your cunt.
It's basically like effective phone sex, where the thing he says is actually the sensation she feels as long as she consents to letting in the I was going to say compulsion, the sway.
Yeah. So she comes like a freight train, obviously. And then
the only way ladies come, according to Melody.
That's right. oh, because he says, keep your eyes on me. You want me to see you come.
Oh, yeah, that does happen.
Yeah,
that does happen.
And then when he comes, he roars. And then he kisses her. Then they do a makeout. And
yes.
And then he's like, oh, be careful. Don't cut yourself on my fangs. She's like, oh, have you ever done that? Somebody's cut themselves on your fangs? And he's like, no, this is my first kiss. Never kissed anybody before in my life. And she's like, oh,
and
my
it
God.
went fine, which is the only thing. There's a blue alien on an alien planet that like we've skipped all the foliage because we don't have time for it,
Right.
but like everything's very different and lovely and beautiful. And this is the most unrealistic thing. I've never kissed before, and I did it, and you liked it.
And your teeth didn't clash? Come on.
And your teeth didn't clash. I mean, she's kissed before. Haven't you kissed someone who hasn't really like gotten good at it yet? And you know how to dodge that shit.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's when you have two I've never kissed
That's
before.
true.
We're just like, do we just clang until we like it? I don't know how to do it. I'm clapping. I said I wouldn't clap.
No,
I'm so
great.
sorry.
That's great. So then after a little while, she's like, oh, is that allowed? I feel like that's not allowed. And he's like, no, I just couldn't help it. I've wanted to kiss you since the moment I saw you. And then she says,
romance.
yeah, she looks at his fangs and she's like, so do you bite anybody ever? Do you like biting people? And he's like, well, that's usually reserved for mates and sometimes married couples. And then she tells him that her first kiss was with a boy on a trip. And he's like getting real mad. I love that
it starts out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I know it's not important, but they're just like laying there in like silent, kind of like contemplation, but like kind of like that afterglow of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just starts going, when I was 14 or whatever, now take it. Because it's important to me that it's out of nowhere because it's so adorable and human and lovely.
Yeah. Especially since like she starts talking about this and she says, yeah, and that was my first kiss right by the fire. And he's like, why are you telling me this? Like, we were having a really nice moment, and now I'm thinking about another bro kissing you, and I hate it. And she's like, well, because the only wood we had to burn in Turkey, where we were, was cedar. And so when I think about that moment, I sort of like smell burnt cedar. And when I smell burnt cedar, I think about my first kiss. And then she's like, you've smelled like burning cedar from day one to me. And he's like, thank you so much for sharing that. I love it so much.
I retroactively love this story.
Yeah. Actually, he says, thank you for telling me, Mavosi. And that translates to alternative to her. And she's like, alternative? That sucks. So then she goes from blissful, happy to like spinning. She's spinning out now.
And they're falling asleep at that moment. And that's the last thing he says to her.
Yeah.
So he falls asleep and she's turning over alternative. She's not yet pissed. That's not until morning.
Yeah.
She is like turning it over where you get that feeling of like, oh, I was feeling really good and really like safe with you. And now I don't know what that means.
Right.
And she's turning it over and she gets a terrible night's sleep. And we know how she behaves when she gets a terrible night's sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is when she starts like really, really spinning out over like not being good enough for him or his mother. And so she was like, I wanted to see if he wanted to like get sort of fake married so that we could date because I want to date somebody. I don't like the idea of being with somebody forever is terrifying to her. And so, but at the same time, she doesn't like the idea of just like a contractual relationship like he's described marriage on this planet is. So she's like, I just wanted to like see if you wanted to get married and date me. And then, you know, we could figure it out from there.
Be together, see what happens.
Yeah. So then they get to the point where like they can take like a shortcut. She writes one more note for Alex. And then she gets attacked by that flying boy that was the attacker earlier. And he's like, I'm coming after you. Here I am. Yeah, the Strigi.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, they go in the cave first.
No.
Because...
They go in the cave right after. Yeah, right after.
Fuck. I cannot believe you're schooling me on this book, but you absolutely are.
Flying boy.
Keep going.
Flying boys can't
I just
attack
like to interrupt
from the
you when
sky
you're
in a
doing
cave.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
So he attacks her from the
I forgot about the
sky.
danger, the inciting incident that gets them out of forest times.
Yeah.
I mistook which one was which.
Yeah. So
I'm full of apology.
No worries. So he like has her by the throat and then he comes over and he's like, put her down. She sees his eyes go black and she's like, that's weird. Oh, it seems like.
Oh no, his health.
Yeah. Something about being.
Because that's how he described it to her.
Fearful is bad for his health. Oh no. And then, after all of that, he like offers to take her place. He's like, let her go. I will let you knock me out and like, you know, as long as you don't harm her. And then she's like, fuck that and fuck you. She has a knife in her pocket. So she stabs this guy in the wing. Verakko uses that opportunity to tackle the dude. And then, boy, does he kill him dead. And she feels like she's weird with him afterward. And so he's cuddling her and he's like, you're safe, Mavosi. She hates that he keeps calling her that because it doesn't
and she's
make
in
sense.
shock.
And she's in shock. It's a whole thing. So he's like, let's get to that shortcut cave and then everything will be fine. They get to the shortcut cave. Sack
of potatoes over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Gets her into that shortcut cave. She doesn't like small spaces. We did skip that. That's fine. Yeah. It's fine. It adds a little bit of oomph. But honestly, there's a lot going on. There didn't really need to be more oomph. But that's okay. Victoria Aveline is perfect.
She is. So then, but there's like a nice hot spring bathtub in that cave because great.
Yes, as there would be.
Excellent.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you very much.
We definitely need hot moisture in an enclosed space. That's what we need to add to this very dirty couple and trekking through the forest.
Well, there's also soap. Like they left soap in that outdoor bathtub. Anyway, so she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you that your eyes changed. And oh no. Oh, because she's really mad at him. And he's like, he misunderstands. And he's like, listen, I had to kill him. I didn't have a choice. And she's like, I don't give a shit that you killed him. I'm really mad that you were going to leave me. And he's like, I would never leave you, Mavosi. And she's like, stop doing that. You were going to leave me. Yeah. And then afterwards, he's like, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, and then meanwhile, like he has been fucking miserable because he knows there's something about him that knows that she's his, but he's had no proof of it. So then she's like, and your eyes changed during that thing. And so I should tell you that because health reasons. And he's like, oh my gosh, like in his mind, he's like, we're mates. It happened. And then suddenly they're kissing. And then suddenly he's fucking her against a wall. And boy, it's great. And then he says, open up to me. I'm going to bite you. Open up to me. And she says, yeah, sure. And like gets her hair out of the way.
Well, no, it's like before they fuck. Sorry. Let's see how comfortable I am. Before they fuck, he's like, all right, if we do this, I get to have you in all ways.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's forever.
He glances at her neck while he licks a fang, which is inexplicably hot. I'm like, why though? Yeah. But anyway, yes. So that was important to me, Nick. That was important to Nick.
You're correct.
That we not pass by the sexy thread, I guess.
You're correct. Yeah. So he's like, let me in. And she's like, absolutely. And so he says,
quickly gathering her hair over one side. She's like, okay, yeah, sure.
And he thinks it's so hot that she's so eagerly baring her neck to him, obviously. And he says, he sways her and he's like, my bite is going to feel just like my cock in your cunt. And it's going to be great. And you're going to come like a freight train. And then she's like, yeah.
That's exactly what he says verbatim.
Yeah, because Victoria Aveline's the best writer ever.
Yes, exactly.
So he bites her and it's hot. And wow, it's great. And then now he's like, everything's going to be great. He's so happy because he can get out of his contract. Everything's awesome. Everything is no worries. Except, oh no, she's terrified of being mated. She like has said over and over again, she's like, what do you mean it's a lifetime commitment that you can't get out of? Like, what do you mean divorce doesn't exist? Like, what are you talking about?
These are previous conversations they've had.
Yeah.
It's great because he goes to, like, they fall asleep that night and he's like, everything's perfect now. It's great. And then it's like the next chapter or something opens up and he's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Yeah. I kind of thought things through because the sex was very distracting. Yeah. And now I've realized I've sort of not given her the full truth.
Right.
She doesn't understand the full situation, which is actually the conundrum he's been in the entire time, where he's like, I want to tell her, but I don't want her to put distance between us because she's made it clear that that is something that is a big line for her. Right. Like any kind of perception of infidelity. And she doesn't understand our culture, which is like, and like that me and Ziratha? Is her name Ziratha?
Yeah.
His like intended. She doesn't get that we're like not connected romantically in the way that she would understand. Mm-hmm. So like I could share it with her, but she might not get it, and
but she's gonna be
now
mad.
This is all coming to a head.
Way. Yeah.
And so he wakes up and he's like, oh fuck. Mm-hmm. That has turned up to 11 and a half.
Yeah. And he thinks to himself, the only way to break the contract is to tell my mother that I've mated. But I can't let my mother find out because I know that in our culture, Lily would be forced to be with me. And I don't want to force her to do anything. So he's in a pickle.
Her agency.
Yeah. And so as they're about to go in, he's like, hey, real quick, I actually think this is a terrible idea and we should head the week walk back up to Tremonta because you would have more rights there. That's the thing I think is gonna happen. And she's like,
well, that, and he's like, let's talk about this when we get outside of the cave where we're safe. Let's go talk about this outside.
Yeah, dummy. So then she's like, well, do you think that your mother would ever consider me for a contract? Because like we could do that. Like you bit me and you said that's like for marriage or mates. So it seems like you think we have a future. Could I do a contract? And he's like, what if I told you that we could be together forever? And she's like, forever? Oh, what does that mean? And then he tells her what his eyes mean. And then she's like, wait, but you didn't tell me any of that. And he's like, well, I was gonna, but at first I didn't think it mattered because you hated my guts.
It's like, I thought it was unrequited. Unrequited is very safe.
Yeah.
It's all on one side.
Exactly. And then he's like, and then I thought like my marks would show up and then my contract wouldn't matter. And then he keeps going and going. And she's like, whoa.
And she's like, contract?
What are you talking about, contract?
What? Because she does know what contract is.
Huh? And so she's like, you're married? And he's like, no. I'm betrothed.
No, I'm engaged.
Oh, it's just a betrothal. And she's like, what the fuck? So then she's like, you let me believe I wasn't good enough for you when really you were cheating on your girlfriend. And he's like, I didn't do that at all. And also, I don't have a girl. It's different. And then,
it's different. I don't even know her. We're just going to procreate.
Yeah.
Why are you making it weird?
Yeah, exactly. For science. Exactly. And then
I am going to bone her down for the good of the planet.
That's right.
I don't know why you're not supportive.
This is what I'm saying. Exactly.
I mean, it is accurate.
Yeah.
We're just right.
And so she's like, wait. Answer me this. If your eyes hadn't changed, what would happen? Would you go marry her? And he's like,
good question. She's asking good questions.
It's the worst question you could have asked. Oh, no, because yeah. So she starts backing away from him, and then she gets stung by a murder plant. And so
he comes out of the sand, too. It's like my nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like sand is scary enough because sand is sand. Mm-hmm. It's hard to run in, etc. Mm-hmm. You can never escape an attacker in sand.
True.
At least I would definitely die. But the idea of, so it's a murder plant that he sees the vine like snake out because she's put distance between them. Lots of distance. Verakko, what are you doing? Stay in the cave. This is a public service announcement. You guys, if you're going to have a very confrontational conversation with your maybe mate, stay in the cave.
Yeah.
That's just, I'll take several seats. Actually, I won't. I'm going to keep talking, but about something else. I'm going to talk about murder plant because we find out that the murder plant, it's like, we like hear it first. It's like, it snakes out of the ground with like a kind of mouth-like thing on the end and stings her, which introduces a paralytic into her body. Because then it was going to wrap itself around her, pull her into the ground. And you guys, trigger warning for oof. Trigger warning for oof. it was going to slurp her all to ick. It was going to suck all of the moisture out of her body for sustenance. She was going to be drained. Like, there are a lot of vampire vibes in this book. This is the worst, most literal one.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink all your juice and so that I can live and you can die.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because I don't know if anyone else has noticed that Verakko like has fangs and has thrall.
Yeah.
And like he's just like sexy. It's like making a vampire act, like a little sexier because he also has a heartbeat and warmth, which is important so that when you're laying in a distant spoon situation, you can feel the heat coming warmth off of him. Can't do that with an actual vampire.
No.
I'm sorry to tell you.
No, you feel a chill. Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really needed to get away from how horrified I was by Murder Plant, and now we can move on.
Oh my God, yeah. So he's like, oh no, Murder Plant is poison. And he picks her up and he's like, I gotta get you to a doctor. And then he looks down and his marks have shown up.
Well, he feels himself running faster.
Oh yeah, he feels himself running faster because matehood also gives you superpowers.
Matehood. Yeah, you get superpowers, as you do.
So then,
I assume that's what happened for married people. Is that not it?
Oh no, that's totally what happened. Oh, well. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, good. Don't shatter the illusion for me.
So he gets her to the doctor, and that's when his marks are showing up, and the doctor's like, "You have to go tell your mother," and he's like, "No, I have to paint my hand so that my mom never finds out."
I mean, he does go see his mom. Should we talk about that? Like, he goes and talks to his mom, and Ziritha is there, which makes it even more fun and awkward because it's so like, fun. Oh, my intended's here to listen to me be like, so I found a human, which it seems like you've heard about. So, like, because we've, like, met, like, we've got, like, a whole vibe going on. It's just, like, friendly vibe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just, like, can I just, like, be her, like, guardian in, like, a super, like, totally okay way that you shouldn't worry about at all in any way? Neither you nor Ziritha, you guys should both be fine with this.
Well, but the underlying thing is, like, both of them understand that the underlying thing is he hasn't recognized her yet, but he thinks he could recognize her. And so
good point.
They'll do, like, the 3-day grace period with more forced proximity so that hopefully he'll recognize her before she's, like, announced to the rest of the world, at which point all of the men's will come out of all of everywhere because her milkshakes bring their people to the yard.
Their potential tattoos to the yard.
That's the one. Yes. That's the one, exactly.
And important note, both because it's just important because Ziritha is like a complete fox.
Love her.
He's trying to be like, Mom, we should talk privately. Mom, we should probably talk separate. We should another room maybe. And she's finally like, just speak, boy. And he says all this in front of Ziritha, and she has like no reaction. She's like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Like she's just very, Ziritha's cool. She doesn't have a book yet, but I assume she will. She is great.
I was on a forum because I did go down a rabbit hole, and I don't know. I don't remember when.
Are we not going to Ziritha?
I don't remember when the forum happened, so it might be changed. Anyway, somebody was like, "Is Ziritha and her, chosen dude going to get a book?" And Victoria Aveline's answer at that point was, "I don't have plans for a book for them, but that could definitely change in the future." Anyway, I know.
Oh, wait until you read Using Feiho because you meet her.
No!
Sorry, just prepare yourself. I believe, unless I'm confused, but I'm pretty positive.
That sounds like something
very sexy boy and Using
to
Feiho is like, she is a hot genius. And sometimes she uses her geniosity for cruelty, and I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
Okay. She can make me go for a lot of things. Keep going.
So he takes her to the apartment that he has bought and stuffed full for Ziritha, according to Ziritha's preferences, including the fact that it's on the 79th floor. He's like, want me to carry you
across the threshold to really make this awkward?
Yeah.
She's like, the fuck, dude?
Yeah. So they have this whole like dinner where he ends up telling her like what the marks are like truly mean and like when they happened. And he's telling her that like he covered them so that she would have the choice and his mom wouldn't force her to be with him. And he says like, either like I can do this marriage and you can wait for my contract to be up. But if you don't want to do that, then like I can break the contract and I would get sent, to a work camp for a little while. And
isn't this where he's still, because I thought it was pretty important that he is actually concealing that from her. He's not, he's basically like, I would be in trouble.
She specifically asks him. In his mind, he's like...
It's like it's not your first time.
He's like, don't ask. And she's like, what would happen to you if you break your contract? And then later on, he's like, don't ask. And she's like, what would happen to you if I refuse to be your mate? And like, I leave. He's like, I would get very sick. Maybe, but probably not. Like, it's fine.
Oh, right. The sickness.
Yeah.
Right.
So he goes to put her to bed in his room because it feels wrong to put her in Ziritha's room or really anywhere that's not his room. And they start like making out and getting all hot and bothered. And then she's like, this is wrong. Like, I don't want to hurt another woman. And doing this feels like we're fucking over your intended, and I'm not going to do it. And so he's like, how do I get her to understand that Ziritha doesn't care? I don't know. So he sets up a spa day for the both of them, and they go spa
together. He sets up a
together.
play date for his mate.
Yes.
With his fucking intended.
Yeah.
Without telling her.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's such dude bro vibes. I know how to fix it. I'm going to create the situation that makes her feel very uncomfortable without talking to her about it.
But it does, because
I had a good
great.
idea. I had a good idea. It's very puppy.
It is absolutely.
Yes, but the initial conflict is fucking hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Because I, to be clear, I get both sides where he's like, oh, I have solution. And she's like, solution is dumb. Why are you like this?
Solution, I hate.
Solution, I hate. I poop on solution.
Yes.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. You're bad. I'm done with this.
Yeah. But at the spa, there's like an attendant, and she doesn't understand that like ladies are super stoic in order to not give the dudes any hope ever.
Again, that emotional distance we talked about with the contract discussion.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like cultural things that are beautifully woven in about how to conduct yourself in public because of the gender disparity issue.
Right.
Procreation issue.
Yeah. So she's thinking to herself, Ziritha is a weird spy who like can change her personality on a dime, and I don't understand what's going on. But really, Ziritha's just being really stoic in front of other men to be like, no, I'm not interested in you. She doesn't understand that. So she like apologetically smiles at someone because she thinks that Ziritha's being fucking rude.
That way that you do when you're with people who are treating service personnel like complete shit, and you try to basically go, okay, well, if you put our actions together and divide by 2, you get reasonable human by like being like very effusive, very nice. Here's a tip that is 100% of the bill. I'm sorry she's like this.
Right.
That's the energy she's giving.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Ziritha looks at him and she's like, she's not interested in you. Period. The end. And she's like, okay, I don't know. I obviously have missed something. Anyway, they end up hanging out with Feiho, who is book 5. And he's like, yeah, I know Verakko. He's a great dude. It does seem like he's the kind of person who would omit information because he thinks you don't need it. But at the same time...
Because he thinks he's the smartest person in the room.
Yes. But at the same time, he's a really good dude. So, like, take that as you will. When they get done with that day, she comes home and he's like, I have a surprise. I would like to surprise at you. And she's like, absolutely. I have glitter hair now because I went to a spa.
Oh, yeah, because she got the elixir and she came out and she was like, yeah, I get that, like, my body feels fine, but, like, my highlights are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. She's like, I worked fucking hard for this. Have we mentioned she's a hairdresser? It doesn't matter. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons they go to the spa, because, like, maybe she can get a job at some point. So anyway, she has glitter hair now. And as they're going to, like, the elevator up to his surprise, she is like, he was so nice and he did this whole spa day for me. And she's like, overcome. And so she kisses him on the cheek and then like goes to stand away from him. But as that happens, as she's like backing away, a lady comes around the corner and does a big eyeball at them. What are you doing? This lady thinks to herself.
Well, I think they bolt apart. Like, it's not even like she was backing up. It's like he like pushes her away in that way.
Yeah.
Where you bolt apart where you're trying not to get caught being like fraternizing.
Exactly. They got caught fraternizing. They don't know it yet. Anyway, they go upstairs and he has made a beautiful virtual checkerboard. Except the moral of the story. I interrupted
you earlier when you were talking about checkers.
Oh, it's okay.
You were starting to talk about checkers, and I was like, because this is like important to their romance. They play checkers the night of the sexiness, the night of the I keep calling it thrall.
The sway.
It's the Haugak, checkers, and sway happen all in one night, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's like, I make checkerboard.
Yeah, I made a cute checkerboard.
It's romance.
And up until this point, she's been like, you're a fucking liar who lied to me for a week. And like, I don't know what is real about you and what's not, right? That's all happened
really
before.
In a rough place.
Yeah. And so at the very end of Checkers, he goes over to one of the pieces and he brings it over to her and he's like, this is actually the Bandit 2 or the Bandit 1. It's one of the bandits that I made when I was a kid.
It's the Bandit 2, I believe.
Yeah. And he says, everything I told you out there, like what we had, everything was real. And that is very, poignant for her, and it's great. But then when they get back to the house, he's immediately summoned to go see his mom.
They get back and they're going to be like, yay, we're going to fuck, we're into each other again, yay! And then it's like, oh, the plot has arrived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The plot has been here the whole time. Victoria, don't take that wrong.
Right. No, it's coming
you
to
did not
a
introduce
head.
plot in the last 10 pages.
That's
yes.
what's happening.
The final conflict has arrived.
Turns out it's a trial because that bitch in the hallway reported them for breach of contract.
Yeah, illegal flirting or whatever.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his mom and Ziritha are both like, are you sure there's nothing that has happened that can save you from many-year work camp?
Is there anything you can tell us?
Yeah.
Please, fuck.
Yeah. And he's like, nope, there absolutely is not. So Ziri goes and gets her because she's going to, like, I don't know, testify about her character.
She volunteers to go get her so she can be like, I'm going to give you a fucking rundown of what you need to fucking do right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Because she is the best.
Yeah. And when she gets there, she, like, realizes as she's watching him basically sacrifice his life and freedom for her that, like, she's an idiot and he's her mate and forever isn't weird because they're just them. They're a team. She wants him. He wants her. It's great. So he's saying, I plead guilty. I have nothing to say.
That's very, is there anyone who can say anything against this marriage between this man and this prison sentence?
Yeah, because he's over there waving a fuckboy flag. He's like, I'm the worst. Punish me.
I did it. It was all me. I didn't give her all of the information, but he's like throwing himself so thoroughly. He is not throwing himself under the bus. Have you guys ever been bit by like a bus depot right before school starts?
Yeah.
He's throwing himself under the line of buses that are interrupting traffic.
It's true. Oh my God. And so then she's about to testify. She realizes that he's making this sacrifice for her. And she's like, he's my mate. Like he painted over the marks because I was afraid of like the lifetime thing and I didn't understand it. And so then the queen is like, paint remover, go get it. And then he takes off the paint in front of everyone. They're making sex eyes at each other. Ziri's like crying with happiness.
Yeah.
It's
because she also has hope for their culture because actual like mating it's happened a couple of times, but there hasn't been like a lot of sign of this helping. And if human women are able to provide more available wombs, I guess, romance, no, I mean, it's just fair.
Yeah.
But if human women are able to be introduced to this situation, they can get fucked down real good and help for their like cultural thing where like they have to stay so emotionally distant from everything. Like women can have more autonomy and choice in like love matches, basically. They have love matches available. They can like have a very different trajectory of life.
Yeah, and like who knows? Maybe the marks are catching. Maybe it's sort of like a communicable genetic switch.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes, Lily, lick my face.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's what Zira says at the end. That's how the book ends.
It's true.
She's
That's
just
the last
like,
line
will
of the
you
book.
spit on me?
It's true. So anyway, it's the best. And they end up in a tiny house that's on the ground level because that's where...
Yeah, he's like, I'm still scared of heights. We did not resolve that in this book.
No.
I do want to do a quick... because we specifically mentioned Mavosi and the plot issue that creates where she's like, the fuck? That is a contractual term, which is adorable and very much fits his character, where he had heard former like family members use that because it's a term that means like an alternative. It's it's a contractual.
If you're in a it's a legal way to break the contract, like literally. Yes. It's called the Mavosi clause. I know that word.
It's just not here. So yes, it just means you encountered your mate while you were in a contract. Like it's not that you met them before, like Verakko has, where like they're not married yet. You're in a contract, and this is a way to get out of it because you've met your mate. So you have to prove either I or marks. And so your Mavosi is like you're like getting out of like your contract so you can be with your true love.
Right. So
that is why it translates to alternative and is also why he's using it as a term of endearment. And it is going very wrong in that dynamic.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sweet. So anyway, they're together forever at the end. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah.
He probably bites her all the time.
Yeah, they just chomp right at each other. She repeatedly spits on Ziritha until Ziritha finds love like she deserves.
That's the one.
That's what I assume happens. Yeah. Actually, no, that's text. That's not that's not fanfic. No, yeah, she just threw that in at the end. It's an epilogue. It's a very important epilogue.
Yeah.
That epilogue packs a lot of plot. I have no idea if there's an epilogue.
Oh my gosh, this book was so good, and it led me down a crazy rabbit hole.
I don't know if you saw my brain start turning things over because you were like, I was in a forum and blah, blah, blah. And it was like a couple minutes later that I was like, wait, she read this twice, then read book 2 and 4, and found time to get into forums. Like, she really, this makes me feel really good. But I'm like, if I can send someone to a fucking forum, they're like, I need background information.
Truly.
I need to know what the fucking super fans are saying.
Actually, what I wanted to know, it was when I was reading book 2, I wanted to know if Daisy and Izzo are getting a book or have a book yet. Because they're like, but they don't yet. And in the forum, she said it's because Izzo has some growing up to do. So I expect him to be like book 8 or something.
Yeah, or book 27.
Yeah,
I'm just going to put that out there on like my dream board because man, oh man, there are some series that you're just like, you should probably stop. And this one, I'm like, you should never stop. Forever. You need an entire fucking planet to move over. To Clickania, and I want to read about all of them.
I want wing boys. I want fish boys. Yes. I want a sapphic romance for that guard that works for Owzed.
A rock-fisted giant, which is the novella I was reading. Have you?
Holy shit! No.
Encountered that one?
No.
Yet? I do believe you will love that.
Holy balls.
I think it's Freeing Maladek.
Okay.
That's the novella I'm in the middle of, and he's like another kind of Clickanian, and they're like miners because they're able to like punch through cave walls.
Oh my god!
And I know this is going to surprise you, but he fucks her real good.
Oh no way!
Like,
what?
Yeah.
Oh!
So yeah, everything. Recommend all the things.
Yeah, I think that's my lady love.
Really?
My lady love is do the rest of these books. Do them.
Yes, that's a good lady love.
Yeah.
What a good person you are. Because I was going to be selfish about my lady love.
Do it.
Wait, is it selfish? I don't know.
No, because you're giving like a recommendation to everybody.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, what's your lady love?
It was going to be like a little bit niche, a little bit weird, right. And this will not resonate for everyone, and that's fine. Go do face masks. I love that for you. Because my lady love was going to be this kind of new world that I've fallen into. It is not an alien race. It is a real world.
Okay.
I didn't know that Barbershop was a thing. Do you know about this?
Oh, like quartets?
Well,
or like
quartets.
A cappella?
There are quartets and choruses. So there are 2 main like barbershop organizations. One is called BHS, which is Barbershop Harmony Society. Why am I doing this to myself? And Sweet Adelines.
Oh yeah, my mom was in Sweet Adelines.
No shit.
She had she was in a Sweet Adelines chapter in Oregon. Yeah.
Holy wow. Well, so am I.
Nice.
And I'm now in a BHS chapter because I just auditioned this weekend. And they felt bad for me, so they let me in. I'm just kidding. That's my fanfic. Because I was very uncomfortable with them saying so many nice things. So that's just where I'm at right now. But this has been a mind-blowing. I've been in choral music forever.
Yeah.
And I love it. I have a deep, deep-rooted love of choral music. I found it when I was like 6 or 7. And I basically sang in choir with like a couple of breaks here and there.
That's awesome.
But other than that, I sang in choirs for years and years and years. And I was in a choir, and the way that I usually put it is just that they're not well resourced. It's often a very I would leave choir practice and my voice was just shot. One of the reasons is I was singing soprano a lot of time, even though I was a lifelong alto. So sometimes I would walk out in a worse mood than when I walked in.
No.
And my voice just fucking wrecked. And then a friend of mine found Barbershop, HB Jazz.
Ooh.
Jasmine. She's amazing. And she's like, I joined this Barbershop chorus that's like down the street from me, and you should try it. And I was like, I guess I'll try it. I guess I'll just like try it. It's fine. I'll try it. But like, I'm not going to leave choral music because like, of course I wouldn't. I've been in it forever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'd been in the choir that I was in for like, I don't know, 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I went over to, it's a Sweet Adeline's chapter, and they're amazing. And the director is like incredible, like just nuts. Like the way that he engages with music and people was like the thing that really drew me in, because they have such, this is true throughout Barbershop, there's such a lens of like education and vocal health and understanding the music and engaging with the text in a different way with like so much intention. And then I found out about BHS's chapter, which is here called PDX Voices, and they are amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. And it is like legit the most emotionally intelligent large group I've ever found. Like they are all about like vulnerability and kindness and like being mindful with how they communicate with each other and the world.
Wow.
And they're like, we have to nurture this space so that people can feel like included and welcome and safe. And they make incredible music.
That's so amazing.
Like, both groups are so incredible and they have very different things, but like there is probably a barbershop something near you. And yes, you can get into a quartet. Watch out. They will fucking find you. But just get into a chorus to start if you want to dip your little toe in.
Yeah.
Get into a fucking chorus because like that space is a beautiful space. They are amazing. And I've just like wanted to shout it from the rooftops for everyone. And I realized I was going to be doing a spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can shout it from the electronic rooftops.
Hell yeah.
So find a barbershop chorus, find a space where you can sing and vulnerability is welcomed. And if it's not super welcomed in that particular chapter yet, like HBs are amazing. Bring that fucking energy to that space. It used to be BHS was men, Sweet Adeline's were women, and they're both like opening their doors.
Oh, cool.
BHS's current iteration is literally just everyone in harmony.
That's
and
great.
so it's like, just show up as you are. Everyone is welcome.
That's
so
really
find it,
cool.
love it, sing in it.
I'm so glad you found
make
it.
noise with your face. Me too.
That's really great.
I dig it. I'm mildly addicted. It's fine. It's better than drugs are expensive, so find
Super
something.
expensive. Yeah.
Find something more approachable to be obsessed with that can take all your time and energy.
I love that. And I'm so glad it's a nurturing space and like
It's incredible.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's some of the best music I've ever been part of. And I am competitive. So it is impressive for me to be like, this is the other night. I really was like, I'm wondering if this is the best musical product I've ever been a part of.
Wow.
Like it was one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever made with a group of people.
Wow.
It was deeply, it felt like I'm trying really hard not to get too deep into like how I feel about music and how we engage with music.
Yeah.
But like the instrument is made of your body and powered by your spirit. Like it's, it's a very spiritual space for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want that for everyone. And maybe barbershop isn't your thing. So I guess I'll make it broader and say, find the thing that's your thing. Like it's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Oh,
Yay.
All right. Keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love getting that vulva on the nape of a neck.
How horrifically perfect. You are so treacherously good at this.
Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle.
Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice review, and of course, tell all your friends about us, even if they don't read romance.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram @heavingbosoms, on TikTok @heaving_bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Head over to our website to sign up for our newsletter, get our Reading Embrace printable, and check out my audiobooks at heavingbosoms.com. All right, we'll be back next week with more swoons and snark. See you then.